Hey, Matt.
Hey,
Hi, Matt.
hey everyone.
Oh,
How are we all this week?
good, good.
All
Good,
good.
good. What a week as well. I don't know if you know Shareva in America, but the BBC, because of Trump, they're in a lot of trouble because they doctored Trump's speech and they made it sound like he said, "Let's fight," and they cut out like 57 minutes of his speech before they went to the Capitol. So. Um, I'm kind of laughing because, I came to this conclusion like years ago. Yes,
I
Tim.
watched the original one and there was absolutely nothing in it
Yeah,
live. I watched it live. There
same.
was nothing in it.
I
Yeah.
know. And then when you see that afterwards, but it just goes to show that it's another. In some ways, I'm kind of pleased that everything's collapsing because it's just promoting what we do. it's it's kind of just showing that we're right all along, not that we're trying to go, oh, we're right, but I just I just laugh because we don't have to do anything. We've already kind of set our stall out and said these are the kind of people that we are, and now the rest of the world is kind of playing catch up because it's seeing all these kind of nefarious agendas coming to light. So I wrote a little thing. I'll probably put it on Star Teachings as well. It's Jane. If you can you post
I'll
the
put it in. I'll put
thank
it in
you.
the chat.
Um, Really, it's one of the, I was thinking, what are the primary sources of human suffering? Because that's what we really need to address. Those are the issues. And then, so I thought about it. It's basically external suffering and internal suffering. So there's two types of suffering that humans mainly have. And so I kind of wrote down what those are very briefly, just to kind of give. And I thought it'd be quite good to do this document because then kind of people can check off on the list, if you like, and see if any of those areas are affecting them. Um, it's kind of they're broad kind of descriptions, but they are helpful for people to pinpoint areas that they want to improve or that they're suffering. So yeah, well, first of all, um, I just want to say hi to Andrew. Hi, Andrew. Nice
I
to
might,
see
you
you
okay?
again. Yeah, good, thank you.
Good.
Nice to see you.
And you?
And yeah, just before I go off onto my little piece that I've written about, yeah, just thought I'd say hi. Thanks for coming on the call.
No,
We
you're
might
welcome.
get Diesel on the call. I sent her a link. I don't think Robin can make this call. He's another member. And I'm not sure if Joe can make it, but he said he I would, I think. So whatever, I just thought, seeing as this is recorded, people can catch up on if they come in late, sort of thing as well. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about today these two primary causes for human suffering, so that it becomes like a checklist, so that people can go, haha, that's where I'm getting triggered, or that's where I'm or that's what's causing me suffering and upset, sort of thing. So I'll just go through them very briefly, and I've written this sort of the opposites, how you can remedy that as well. So first one is, so it's firstly external events, and secondly internal events. So firstly, it's physical pain and illness. I put that in external events because with homeostasis, you're not even thinking about your illness. External events can cause illness as well, but it's kind of external in terms of toxins and things can cause you illness, poor diet, poor health, things like that. So physical pain and illness, loss and disappointment. So when people lose things, or when they set up expectations and then they're not met and get disappointed, or if they, feel aggrieved by, an interaction that they've had with other people. Man-made evil and injustice. Well, there's plenty of that around. It's the season for that. That's the main reason really why I set up PLC, because there's just so much craziness out there, and when you realize that the mainstream, everything that's considered mainstream, is actual a form of controlled psychopathy. So it's a form of controlled psychosis. It's a form of controlled population hypnotism, and then the controllers are the ones saying what is reality. They're the ones going, no, you can't believe in that. Yes, you can believe in this because it's sanctioned, sort of thing. So you've got loads of it's the inversion of the divine law, and that's on purpose. So when you think about what mainstream is, that's a complete inversion of divine law. So that's like pure evil in some regards. It's like systems of redundancy for humans, systems that make people obsolete effectively, or treat them and get rid of them, abuse them and then their energy, and then harvest that and then get rid of them. These aren't kind of benevolent systems. They're sold as on the surface, but they're not. So, and then, yes, and that, of course, causes injustices, which is part of it. All these kind of legal, lawful even frameworks, judiciary, they're all forms of control mechanisms to say, you can't get past here, you can't get justice, we tell you what reality is, sort of thing. And that's enforced upon the populations around the world. So, I'm not just talking about the UK, it's on all the major sort of countries as well. And then you've got natural disasters and sort of random events. That is one thing that you cannot prevent. That, unless you're God, that's going to always happen. So, being able to deal with the flux and the change of life and being resilient is really important. And then, so that's kind of like the main external ones. It's like physical pain and illness, loss and disappointment, man-made evil and injustice, natural disasters and random events. And then you've got the internal ones, the sort of internal and psychological causes, which are desire and attachment. When people, live in that material world, they just want the next best thing. They forget the value of the thing that they've got, and then they just want the next best thing. So they're constantly chasing this kind of like never-ending sort of machine that churns out new products or new trends and stuff like that. And it's all kind of temporary and kind of based on kind of actually corporations selling you something under a certain guise to get you kind of all excited. So so there's desire and attachment as well. There's 4 different types of attachment types. There's secure, there's avoidant, there's anxious, and there's disorganized. So helping people understand what kind of attachment types they have as well is really important, because then they can see kind of if they have a dependency on certain things, certain outcomes, certain thought forms and stuff like that. So the next one is ignorance and delusion. You get many people who are kind of completely naive as to what they're like. They can't even see themselves. They're in this sort of form of denial, and they have all sorts of issues, but yet they kind of blame it on the external. So that's not taking responsibility and stuff like that. So who have we just had come and call? Oh, hi Terry Ann, nice to see you. I'm just running through a document about the 2 main causes of human suffering. I've just gone through the first one, which is external, and now I'm going through the second part, which is internal. But there is a document on PDF posted if you want to look at that, which I'm kind of referring to, so you can check where we are on the document. Yeah, so the second one is ignorance and delusion. You get people who are very arrogant. They think that the world revolves around them. They deserve certain treatment and stuff like that. Usually at the expense of someone else. And ignorance, you know, they assume that they have a certain amount of knowledge, and they can't be taught anything because they think they already know it. So, you know, there are those people who are ignorant and delusional about their lives, and that causes them suffering because they're not able to perceive how people, why people are treating them that way. They just are being themselves, or what they think themselves, or what they think that they should be like, which could be, you know, a borderline personality disorder, could be kind of rather miserable, could be a narcissist, could be, you know, all these different kind of traits. But they don't even know it. But they'll be suffering because they'll be getting the feedback or the results of the people that they're interacting with, you know. So a lot of people are in denial about themselves, about they're not even looking at themselves as a source for creating the conflict that then comes back to them in a reaction from the people around them, kind of thing. So there's that as well, and often delusional about things like the Kruger-Dunning effect, which in psychology means that you're not able to assess yourself in the context of the population. So you naturally assume either that you're superior and everyone else is stupid and more inferior than you, or you do the opposite, which is you assume that you're this kind of underling that's just a grunt, that's nothing, that's just a sort of ant under a rock that has no significance, and you assume everyone's more intelligent. To be honest, that was my one. I went for that one, and I assumed I was stupid and everyone else was more intelligent. Anyway, so you do get people, including myself when I was younger, who are not able to assess who they are because they're not looking at themselves. They're just being, and then getting this sort of reaction from the world around them. The third one is aversion and hatred. You know, if you feel that you have to hate someone or something, you know, you really are damaging yourself because you're holding on to that energy form. You're holding on to that bitterness and stuff like that. You know, that's what you're feeding internally, that energy form, and actually you're perpetuating conflict as well. So, you know, also aversion, you know, if you're going to constantly avoid kind of self-development or avoid the issues that are causing you suffering, they're going to just perpetuate. So that sort of aversion to things, that sort of repulsion as well to things, those, you know, being in those binary black or white, things aren't necessarily repulsive, but your reaction to them, it may be as well. So it's about, you know, thinking about who you are and, you know, why are you avoiding something and why do you hate something? Because actually you're just doing yourself a disservice. You know, those people that you hate probably are not even thinking about you, or that kind of you know, all those sort of bitter thoughts and all those sort of nasty kind of intentions, you know, they're just floating around inside you, causing you illness. So they're not really doing you any good either. And actually, there's a saying that says if you're gonna seek revenge, you might as well dig two graves because it's going to be your own as well with that. So it's pretty much the same for things like hatred and stuff like that. And then the fourth one is ego and selfishness. You know, really, if you just are going to take and never give, if you're going to be just thinking about yourself and talking about yourself, then people are going to be very disinterested quite quickly. You know, no one wants to hear a know-it-all. No one wants to hear someone who just talks about their own self all the time. You know, it's nice to have a two-way conversation. Gosh, I won't say who, but recently, you know, I was with someone who wouldn't ask questions of me. Who would always be talking about themselves, and that's really hard work because you kind of, after a while, you kind of run out of questions to go, oh really, and what do you do, da 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 da, kind of thing. You kind of like, I'm a bit spent on the questions now, I'll just let them ramble and talk about themselves until they run out of steam. But unfortunately they didn't. That was just their natural propensity. Anyway, tolerance is good with that one as well. So And then so there's two more: overthinking, negative thought patterns. Really, the universe is equal opportunities. The universe is actually a positive force in your favor. We are dielectric beings, so we're two poles. We're positive and negative. We can oscillate between those, but also people tend to get stuck in a bias, and they tend to then form this negative loop patterns, and then they set those in a groove, and then find it very difficult to get out. You know, when you get like a maggot melody, when a song's like stuck in your head, you know, and then you're like trying to, and you keep repeating the same kind of line until eventually either you forget, something distracts you, or you do like what I found was a good remedy, which is to sing another equally annoying song until they cancel each other out. But you've got to quickly stop there, because otherwise it could overlap and you learn another and not get stuck on the second annoying melody. So, but overthinking stuff, just kind of rumination. Basically, the more you think about things, this is well known in psychology. Rumination, the more you ruminate about yourself and think about yourself, the more suffering you cause yourself. The more you think of others and about others' welfare, the more you grow and develop. And the reason for that is that it's reciprocal. Basically, when you're thinking of others and doing things for others and inquiring about others and showing interest about others, people really enjoy that. They feel, you know, someone cares, someone's listening, and they want to reciprocate. So then they give that back to you. So then you've got, so it's a lovely feedback loop, because you're then giving an opportunity. Once asking, you know, people show interest in you. So, but when you're ruminating to yourself, you've got no feedback. You've not got anyone that you can sort of compare and ask and contrast, and you're just feeding those thought patterns and ruminating, and that's just magnifying and increasing those thought forms. It's not actually getting validation or getting negation from other people saying, well, that's a bit silly, don't worry about that, or oh yes, that's really important, yeah, you should take care of that. You don't get any of that kind of outsourced feedback if you're ruminating on your own. So people tend to go into negative kind of thought patterns and stuff like that. So trying to be aware of your thought patterns and stuff like that, and then see it as weather. Don't necessarily entangle and dwell on the kind of lower and darker stuff. And then finally, it's lack of action and indifference and apathy. Really, this one's a massive one, because it's kind of it's nothing. You're just sitting there doing nothing. You're living a life, your heart's beating, you're using up kilojoules, you're interacting with the world, but you're just not partaking in it. You're not participating in it. You're separating, you're disassociating yourself from life. But you know, you may be disassociating from traumatic things, but also at the same time you're disassociating and cutting yourself free from things that can support you and benefit you and help you to grow and develop and expand and nourish you. So, you know, it's really important to avoid indifference and apathy, because that's a killer. Because actually, really, you know, people who've got that don't value the external world. So therefore, there's no feedback. They don't value themselves, so they don't value the external world. Then, because they are not valuing themselves, the external world sees them not valuing themselves and treats them accordingly. You know, so that's really important, to kind of have gratitude and value for yourself and self-love, and appreciate the kind of natural world around you, not necessarily the man-made world, but the natural, beautiful things around you that you are intrinsically part of, as part of nature. So, you know, I can't obviously make people appreciate and value the things in the world, because everyone has different value systems and appreciates different things. But, you know, try to have a little bit of a balance, you know, if you're kind of mostly negative thinking, you're out of balance, you're into the dark, you know. But equally, you can be kind of naive as well and blinded by the light. So the two inform each other. So really try not to form those negative thought forms, or you know, just whatever your passions and interests are, just try and do more of that. Just do, even if it's a little step one day. But just explore new things, be a bit more proactive, get out there, do things, meet people, you know, push yourself a bit more to interact with the world, and then the world will interact with you. You'll meet people such as your beautiful selves on this call, you know, who are like-minded, who think the same as you, who have the same sort of values, who you can have decent conversations with without all any of that undertone kind of snarkiness or kind of inference, you know, because they're thinking something else. They may be smiling and saying nice things, but they may be thinking kind of negative stuff about you. You don't have to have any of those interactions with those people, because when you kind of start defining what relationships and friendships and kind of qualities that you like in other people, you know, they'll appreciate that too. And you don't have any of those conflicts. You don't have those people who are putting you down and who are cynical or critical. You may get people who are constructively critical, but they're saying it from love, you know. So that's just being, you know, open to, you know, different opinions, and then adjusting from that if you think that they're important, those opinions, what you're like, sort of thing. So those are the two. That's me rambling over. Those are the two kind of primary causes of human suffering: external events and internal events. And really, each one of those, apart from natural disasters and random events, each one of those can be changed, but it comes from you, the individual, to be able to do that, your motivation to do that. I'd love to be able to give people a magic serum, or, you know, like a cough drop or something like that, that made them motivated and got them out of their suffering, like an anti-suffering kind of tincture. But unfortunately, I haven't made one yet. So we're just going to have to deal with this sort of information, and hopefully that, you know, it may resonate with you, whatever I've said, and maybe you can look at that area a bit more. And I'm always happy to kind of dive down a bit more into detail. But really, I'm kind of this is the open call, so that's kind of more for the members, and I'm just kind of in general talking about ways to address suffering and to turn it around. And that's what we're doing, you know. I mean, as I've been going along, I've kind of written out what we've been doing. You know, physical pain and illness. We're holding wellness events. We're starting health hubs. We're advising people to take responsibility for their own health and medicines. They can also seek second opinions, but they can also do alternative healthcare. Loss and disappointment, you know, that you can't negate that. You can't downplay that. You can't say, oh, that's not important. Every loss and disappointment is important to that individual. What's important is to recognize that and to come to an understanding about its context in your life, and to maybe kind of always have it there in your memory, but let it inform you as to how to kind of be more resilient and understand that life is got all those variables, you know. And that's why it's important to live in joy and be happy and contented with life, and enjoy those relationships, you know, long or short, that come and go, sort of thing. Then man-made evil, of course, that can be changed. You know, we are actually literally making that obsolete by the PLC and other community groups that are living in the holistic way, very loving, unity consciousness. You know, I don't see any borders. Actually, I see just one ship that we're all on, different areas of that ship, and we all kind of need to work together, because if the way it's been left to the idiots, to run the planet is not very sensible, the stuff that they're doing. So if we have all these communities around the world doing our own aligned action, and things that don't fund wars and don't create bioweapons and don't harm others, then we are changing that dynamic as well. Natural disasters and random events, all I can say for that is basically be more resilient, be prepared, have a plan B, always think things could go wrong, and if they do, be prepared for that, but obviously hope for the best, and not have a negative mindset or a fearful mindset, but more risk assessment. Think about your situation and risk assessment. And then the internal stuff, desire and attachment, well, basically don't have any expectations, then you won't get disappointed. Don't be so materialistic and desire all the next best thing. Actually take stock of what you've got, utilize that, and there is more to life than the material world. There's love, which is not always a physical thing, it's a psychological thing as well. So yeah, aversion and hatred, well, really you're just damaging yourself if you're going to be doing that sort of behavior with others. Ego and selfishness, again, you're going to be damaging yourself. Really be a loving, kind person, and it will come back to you. Look at yourself, see if there's any issues. If people are telling you there are issues, have a look at them, basically, and then upgrade, amend your own self, and then you can have more positive interactions with people. Overthinking negative thoughts, that gets you nowhere, really. If you've got a problem and you can't do anything about it, why worry? If you've got a problem and you can do something about it, why worry? It's basically as simple as that. A lot of energy spent on worry and fear could be spent, it's the same amount of energy could be spent on creativity and expression and doing what you want to see in the world and what you want around you. And then and then the last thing is basically apathy. Well, that's kind of like laziness, really, but it's also lack of self-love. And really, there are people who love you. There are people you haven't met yet who love you, who will love you, and you are a result of love. And at the core of it, you're pure love and joy. So a lot of people forget that. So try and find your joy, and then the love will come back to you, and from other people as well. So yeah, that's my little, that is the news for today. That's my little piece for today. Does anyone have anything that they want to chat about this week, or that they're excited about or interested in?
Hello.
No, then okay.
It's just kind of an update on where I'm at with connecting with people and stuff. I had good chat at the farm shop last week, and they're really keen to help with gathering in all their contacts, which is great. We still don't kind of know what we'll do with that at the moment, but it's a work in progress, put it that way. We will have a gathering, and start to put together hubs and stuff like that. But we need to get all the contacts gathered in first. I'm going again tomorrow, so I'll see where we're at with it.
Great. I mean,
so
if you think about it, that farm shop will have quite a few contacts, won't it? Because to bring in stock, to bring in, and actually what we do need is really people like plumbers, builders, nurses, doctors, the people that make up a village, so the more kind of professions that we can have, the better. And I'm thinking, actually, what's quite interesting is, you've got the yellow pages, and you've got Facebook free space, and you've got all these kind of directories and stuff like that. Actually, people pay to do that, but with us, it's £11 subscription, and you get free. You're in the directory, and so you're also an ethical business, providing services and goods. And so this again is going to be even more prevalent as we go forward into the future, because like everything is the fake news, fake media, fake pharma, fake medicine, fake law, it's going to be pretty much the same with fake foods, fake businesses, fronts and stuff like that. So actually networking with local people who are real people and not part of a big corporation means that you have that more closer relationship with your customers, but it also means that people are going to start coming to your stores more for the real food, the whole foods, the things that aren't being mucked about with, let's put it this way, or processed and manufactured. So definitely encourage that. If people want to, I'm a bit reluctant to say this, but I'll do it. If people want an advert to advertise their business, get in touch with me and we'll put together an advert and we'll put that on the directory. I'll try and keep it in the same format, like a square graphic or something. But I want loads of people's jobs, careers up there. So, and then you can just look at the PLC directory and you'll be like, oh, I would like some goat's cheese, or I'd like some, I don't know, string made out of reeds. I don't know, whatever it is.
Raw milk.
Raw milk, exactly. And then you could just go to that directory and order it basically online, or get it delivered, or go and collect it effectively. So, and the more we do that locally, and those all meet up, network with each other. So, and that's the way we're going to go, and which is lovely as well, because there's going to be less restrictions on trade in that way. So we'll be able to kind of trade copper frying pans without kind of Teflon getting involved. Or, you know what I mean? We're, without big corporation trying to muscle in, sort of thing. So great. Yeah, no, keep going with that. I also kind of want to do a logo for the Airbnb that Christine's doing. A whole, that would be nice. A PLC Airbnb. And I think, Christine, you should also name each hut as well.
I've already thought of that, Matt.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
I'm a step ahead of you, because I've done enough of these courses with horses. Sorry, I haven't put my camera on. I've just been lazy tonight.
No probs.
But I went to Wolverhampton yesterday to visit a man called Harry Rhodes.
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah, oh, right, yes. I'll tell you what, it was, I'm going to swear, really, really interesting. I admitted the swear word. I tell you what, that guy is a genius. Absolute genius in what he's doing. And he's so much a genius that the other side have tried to take him out more than once. But I was very, very impressed with all his information, and he has interesting info on bees as well with his frequency, because I don't know if you knew, but Harry has worked quite closely with the Tesla family.
No, I didn't know that.
No, well, I didn't till yesterday. In fact, he told me all sorts. Have you heard of the 16?
No.
Neither had I. Hang on.
You mean 16 musicians, singers, or something else?
Something else.
Okay.
Right. I'll give you the 16 and a book called One Step Beyond. And the author is, and it says the secrets were in Jaraba.
Cherubah, yeah.
Is that it? Okay, I didn't know how you pronounced it. His name's John Irwin.
Oh, yes. John Irwin.
Yeah, well,
British military.
Exactly. Yes. Well, his story, he talks about the Nephilim. He says they're real. He's been there. He's fought them. And Harry was telling me, I've got the book, and I mean, it was only yesterday, so I've had a whirlwind few days.
And
Um,
yeah, he's got
What's the book again, Chris? Sorry.
it's called The 16, One Step Beyond.
I know what you're talking about now. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was tasked with collecting some crystal tablets, basically,
exactly. Yeah.
with encoded information on, and
Yes.
yeah. So, but he was also did some talk with Miles Davis, Miles Johnson, sorry, from the
Yeah.
Basis Project. So,
Right.
if you want to see some more John Irwin stuff about that incident,
Well,
there's
I've got a signed book here now.
great.
And I've got as far as page 8 because Wolverhampton's 3 hours for me. I stayed the night before at my son's in Bromsgrove, which cut the journey down. I went and had my bloods done
Right.
because I wanted to know if the protocol that I've been using is good or not good.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, he was impressed with my blood. So I am so chuffed because I'm using structured water. That's the key to it all. And yeah, it was interesting because I wanted to go to meet another person. And this other person he had a Satori.
Right.
And since then, his body is not his body anymore. He collapses a lot and things. So he's been trying to work it out and something about brainstorms. So this person sent me a text saying, Chris, put your healing hat on and tell me who I can go to and everything else. Anyway, I he'd already had a conversation with Harry, but miscommunication and various things. So I sent him back there. And he's on methylene blue, which Harry makes, and he infuses it with the Tesla frequencies and everything, pure stuff, and it's just amazing. I tell you what, I love that guy. He's a bit like the Mad Professor, little old man. They tried to take him out, I don't know how many times, but he also has the machines that can change the weather. He's got,
Yeah, the Cloudbusters and stuff like that
yes.
by Wilhelm Reich. Right.
Well, he's doing his own. He's doing, I mean, there's so much more I could say, but I don't want it on a public forum here.
Sure.
Just
That,
because.
yeah. No, I mean that's really good that you had your bloods tested and that they're impressive as well. It might be worth sharing that protocol if you want at some point.
Oh, well, absolutely. I mean, what do I do? Well, I live alone, but my kitchen is full. I've got 2 Berkeys. One's a copper Berkey. So that's where I start with my water. I have got an under sink. Oh, what is it? A filter system. But it's only one of the cylinder things. So,
Right.
and it's a water softener. I have that go through the house, but I've got, like I say, 2 Berkeys. I've got 1 distiller. I've got Harry Rhodes' own Vortexer, so that one structures the water. I've got his deionizer. I've got his deionizer kettle. And now these are all things that I did 4 years back
Yeah.
from gut instinct. And
Well,
that's why I wanted to have my blood tested because I feel good and I wanted to know exactly what was going on in it. But I did not expect the information. I know I've only hit the tip of the iceberg with what he's got. So, but I tell you, no, I spent from 9:30 till 5:30. We had an evening meal and had to head off home, but I could have stayed there. I was mesmerized with it all. And
there are people who amass a huge amount of
yeah,
knowledge, and if you come across those, yeah, it's always worth kind of staying around and listening to as much as you can about what they picked up, because there'll be kind of people who recognize patterns in a different way, so they'll be giving you a whole different perspective on life, sort of thing.
well, I can, and I'm happy to share his website. It's
Yes, please. Yeah.
onlyresultscount.com.
Yeah. Great.
So Yeah, I mean, I've been chatting with Carl, who does the lion's share of the stuff. Harry's the one in there with the mad professor hat and the telescope or whatever it is. Microscope, that's the word. Yeah, he's had lots of conversations, and we all know of John O'Looney.
Oh, yes, yeah.
He's had conversations with him, and he showed me these files that have got the, shall we call them the threads in it?
Yeah,
And it's got one that's still alive and it replicates.
right.
So that was a bit to look at and to
Yes.
hold and whatnot, but certainly needed. And I tell you what, I would go on his website. His contact details are there, and if you want to go up, just book an appointment.
Great. I mean, there are protocols as well for spike protein, but
Yes.
and a lot of people said actually CDS is very good at getting rid of the spike proteins as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
great, thank you, Christine. That's good to know. You know, I do think that these kind of alternate forms of healthcare that people like you and us and we're all sort of exploring, well, you know, it's all part of that frequency, the new frequencies, the healing technologies, you know, through things like frequencies, and knowing more about the human biology. So, you know, and these things, you know, they're only coming more into the awareness. Not, I wouldn't even say of the public yet, but but we're kind of like seeding the public to then take them on. So, you know, that's how it's always worked. You've always got the outlandish, the sort of creative, the eccentric people, who are the people forging their own path, who kind of, you know, precede the public with, you know, inventions or, you know, societal changes and stuff like that. So the more we can explore as many different kind of ways of living that bring health and benefit, the better. And each one of you is one of those detectives, really, going out there and finding, you know, good stuff to bring it to, you know, communities like PLC and stuff like that. So I really I'm looking forward to seeing more of those beneficial systems, frequency systems coming through. How are we doing for time, Jane?
Nearly 1:45.
Wow. So I kind of just want to speak a bit about you know, this, what we're doing here is absolutely amazing. We're not kind of going off beating our drum and stuff. I went into a supermarket earlier today, and there were these guys standing at the front, really annoying, and they were collecting signatures for, should I say, well, yeah, I should, Anthony Nolan Bone Marrow Trust. Now, I knew a guy about 15 years ago who was like one of the shareholders, or one of the, not shareholders, one of the main staff, one of the main people who set it up, helped set up that trust. Initially, it was a sort of homegrown charity. But like with all of these sort of charities, they get kind of nobbled by mainstream because they're profitable organisations. I was saying to the chap, you know, why don't you talk about fenbendazole? Why are you not looking at ivermectin? Why are you not looking at CDS and other cures? Because then you don't have to find a donor, a match to donate the bone marrow. You can just get rid of the illness, you know, because and then you won't need to find a match. And he was like, kind of just couldn't compute. He kind of glitched there, but it's I was thinking, I wish that was a PLC podium and we could just stand in the front of the supermarket and go, hey, would you like to sign up to be a holistic member of society and live in a loving, kind, peaceful, self-contented way? You know, we're trying to get 1,000 subscriptions this month. I was thinking, how cool would that be if we could make these little podiums? But then, of course, you know, the supermarkets would go no.
Well, yeah,
Because,
they'd see us as like Hare Krishnas, you know,
yeah,
like the cult.
who are these wackos? Yeah. You know, they obviously our message would be like, don't buy the food in this supermarket, it's poison. so we wouldn't have a chance. But you know, I think it would be nice if we eventually get to that status, but without the cabal kind of machinery behind it. But you know, each one of you is actually a podium, really. You know, the more you speak about an alternative way, you know, anarchy that's not destruction, anarchy that's creation, the more you show your joy about the sort of, you know, community that you like to hang out with and the things you do, more people will just want to join naturally. So yeah, just a reminder that you're all each a podium. Thankfully not one of those twatty cabal idiot kind of student kind of just working, you know, just to earn enough money to get drunk at the weekend basically types. So yeah, just spread the word and show people that there is a different way of doing things, and it's not destructive. It's actually very beautiful, very creative, very loving, very supportive and kind. So yeah, and just thank you all, you know, for being here and being part of that and showing that alternate narrative, because you know, if we weren't doing this, there'd be less for people to see and less paths for them to travel down. So, you know, that help them, sort of thing. So yeah, I think that's it pretty much. I think we'll call it a wrap, as they say. Thanks, guys. Really lovely to see you, and keep you know, being brilliant, and hopefully do something amazing in the week so that you can come and tell me about it and us all about it, because it's not just about me, next week. Okay, lots of love. Thank you, guys. Bye.
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 Bye.